So here's the solution to the previous problem. Find f inverse prime of 1/2. So you have the first step would be to find f inverse of 1/2. And f inverse of 1/2 is going to be the value of x, okay, when f of x is equal to 1/2. So what we need here is to solve this trigonometric equation right here. Using your unit circle, we know that x must be equal to pi over 6. Now, you can also use your calculator in case you forgot that value. And what you do is plug in sine inverse of 1/2 in your calculator. But it will give you a decimal form of pi over 6. So x is equal to pi over 6, and checking to see the given domain of x, it says that your angle should be between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So, which means pi over 6 is our solution. And is there any other solution aside from pi over 6? What this means, if we will graph this, it means that we were looking for angles in quadrant 1, and aside from quadrant 1, we are also looking for an angle in quadrant 4. So that means aside from pi over 6, another possible value would be negative pi over 6. Okay, so that's step 1. The second step would be using the formula f inverse prime of 1/2 would be 1 over f prime of f inverse of 1/2. So that gives us 1 over f prime of pi over 6, or 1 over f prime of negative pi over 6. So, for us to be able to evaluate this, we will need to find the derivative. So, let's move to step 3. Find the derivative. So the given function was sine x, so the derivative is cosine x. And I know that cosine pi over 6 is going to be root 3 over 2, and f prime of negative pi over 6, since this is in the 4th quadrant, cosine is still positive, so we have the same value. So the last step would be going from the formula right here. You just take the reciprocal of what we got for the value, and the reciprocal of root 3 over 2 is 2 over root 3. But we need to rationalize that by multiplying root 3 to the numerator and denominator. So we have 2 root 3 over 3. So this is now our f inverse prime of 1/2.